I just wanted to kind of close with something that we opened up with, actually, and that is the research report that Kat had mentioned. Ruediger is the author of it, and as we've said before, it's freely downloadable. Right now, you'll find a PDF up there, but we'll be adding EPUB and MOBI very shortly. And one of the keys to this, too, is, again, this is not a static document. We're going to be adding more coverage throughout the globe in the coming months, probably one update later this year, and then another update early next year. And you know, you'll have access to that all along. So just want to encourage everybody to not only download it and read it, but give us feedback as well. If there are things you feel are missing or that we can do a better job of to improve it, please tell us. I think it's a great starting point, and I encourage you all to take a close look at it. But Ruediger, thanks for joining me up here. Just a few quick questions. Wondering, first of all, what was the data source for the report? I mean, where did you go to get all this information?
I just... the first goal of the study was to look for all the material that is out there, reports, limited studies, selective data, whatever we could find on a number of given markets, and to back this up with a questionnaire that I've sent to a number of stakeholders, so that I could evaluate the reliability of the data. But as you said, I must caution you, this is a very first step, because we all know e-book markets are emerging only, data are only starting to come in, and I'm sure there are mistakes, misrepresentations, things missing. I very much encourage everyone to give us feedback, critical feedback, to make it better in the second, third, fourth installment. But it was about collecting what's out there.
Right, right. So, real quickly, what are the European countries you see that are kind of leading the way here in this?
It's clearly that in Europe, in continental Europe, taking out Great Britain, we see a more mature market environment in Germany and France. But I just read a minute ago, there was a GfK study being published today about Germany saying 0.7% of the book markets is e-books. So it's very, very small. But we also could see that the infrastructure is in place and that people project a rapid growth for at least Germany and France in the next few years, so that we can expect to be at 8, 9, perhaps 10% within 3 to 4 years.
Okay, and you spend a lot of time covering the impact of value-added tax. So what sort of an impact is VAT having throughout this situation?
I think that's a major distortion for all of the European markets, where in most cases, or all cases, printed books as cultural items are subject to a reduced VAT, while e-books are considered as a service or software with the full VAT applying. So that can be the difference between 0% and 20% on the same book. Now, everybody expects e-books to be cheaper than a printed book. But then you have to deduct even more VAT, so the margin for really approach the expectations of the consumer, of the reader, is very slim.
Okay, and I want you to pull out your crystal ball here for a moment and tell us, where do you see the e-book market share in most of the European territories by, let's say, 2015?
Well, I guess at the moment, this is why I said the infrastructure is in place in all the major markets. That's the case in Sweden, in Italy, in Spain, everywhere. And second, these distortions, like the VAT issue, are under scrutiny. There are people lobbying at the European Commission to bring e-books to the same lower rate of VAT. Publishing companies, retail chains are rolling out products, reading devices, many titles being published as e-books as well. So I would expect that to grow quite rapidly, and say between, let's say, 5, 6 and 10, 12% is the range according to markets where I would see e-books by 2015.
Okay, and then as I mentioned, you cover China and Brazil in there as well. What sort of significant differences did you see in those territories versus Europe?
I guess this was also one very important thing. Not to assume that ebooks are the same everywhere. If you look at what we call the BRIC countries, like Brazil, Russia, India, and China, education plays a much more prominent role, while educational publishing in Germany, for instance, is almost non-existent in the digital sphere. The second thing is you see major domestic companies in Brazil, in China, who dominate the market and who understand their market and who rolled out very often schemes that are different from e-books. In China, for instance, reading online literature, huge series of stuff are published and have fan communities in the millions. In Brazil, it's very much about education, as I said. Some places like Russia and China have developed their own e-book format standards, which are different from Mobi or EPUB. So we see a lot of variety. Of course, also piracy is in a completely different percentage in the place in BRIC countries. And one goal, one ambition of the entire study was to highlight those differences, as well as to also show where markets are following the same path, more or less.
Okay, final question. Where's the report heading? What do you see? What do you want to focus on for this first update that we're going to do next?
We have, I guess, there are, number one, as I said earlier, we need to update it in terms of taking out eventual mistakes, update the data, have more detailed data. That's one part. The second thing is I very much would like to add a few more markets. Russia, India, Scandinavia, Central Europe, I get Latin America. And the third thing is there are quite a few sectors that would be very important to understand better. One is education, another one is the spread of global English. I mean, now you can foresee that the access to English reading will grow enormously. How much, through which channels, across which hurdles, we just don't know, and that would be interesting to find out.
Okay, wonderful. Ruediger, thanks so much for all your hard work on this. Everybody, if you could give Ruediger a big round of applause.